So I got a 1998 Chevy Cavalier, all keys lost, and I couldn't find any information on how to remove the ignition cylinder without key. This particular vehicle I was making a key for, and I did use NASTAF and pull a key code by VIN number, but the ignition was changed previously. So that key worked in the doors, did not work in the ignition. And then, I found remnants of metal shavings where they had just purchased this car and, whoever had it previously changed the ignition switch. So these are a sidebar ignition. And then it'll have this little cap on it. So obviously, you just have to peel the cap off. I don't remember if there was a metal ring. Sometimes these have a metal ring on the back of it. I don't see any metal ring anywhere around here. So just peel the cap off and you'll see this is the ignition cylinder. And let me see, it's in this position. And there is a sidebar. So you don't see the sidebar until you peel that ignition cap off. But I was able to get the sidebar in and made a jiggler key. So this key is just cuts 4242424242. And I used my little pick to hold the sidebar, jiggled the ignition, and got it to move to the on position. And then you have this little tab here that only pushes in when the ignition cylinder is on the run position. And the spot to see it is all the way in the back here. You just get a little flathead, you push it in, and the whole cylinder comes out. Unfortunately, this particular ignition switch was aftermarket and did not have a key code on it. So we're probably going to just end up switching this ignition switch out, but I did not see any reference on how to remove these cylinders without the key. So it's just like doing, O2 Tahoe or any of the more common GM vehicles that have the side post. It's just this whole body will come out, and once you spin it around, there is another tab in there. You have to spin the tab around and push that tab in, and this sleeve will come out of this housing. But watch out when you spin this around and remove it. There's these little pins and springs. Like I have no idea where these go back. Good thing I'm not putting this switch back, because these will pop out. And then that secondary retaining tab, that will come out and has a spring behind it. So I knew, just by looking at it, where those two went. I was able to put that one back in together. Those other two tabs, they go somewhere in here holding that ignition out. Maybe they go into that hole. And yep, so that's where they go. Those two go in, the springs go in, the pins go in, and basically they hold the ignition switch from falling all the way down in. So just be careful when you take that apart. You don't run across a lot of these, but every once in a while you do. So for now, until we get a new ignition switch, I actually pulled the wafers and the lock pin out. So the key will turn it. There's nothing going to be holding it, and we can just switch the whole ignition at once. And yeah, at some point you could probably just decode those wafers and make a new key. LakelandCarKeys.com.